Hey, what's happening, guys? Paul Ingram here, College Center. Today's video, we are celebrating 200,000 subscribers. 200,000 of you guys, because you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for your support, for watching the videos, for training Kali with me, learning about Kali with me. It's super appreciated to see this art alive and well, and more people coming into this art, new people every single day. It's just absolutely amazing. What I want to do for the next handful of videos is I want to take a little bit of a step back and go through kind of like a introductory to Filipino martial arts, to Kali. We're going to go through some introductory kind of type of drills, but across different areas of Kali, so that way you can be exposed to all the different things that Filipino martial arts has to offer, because this martial art is huge. It's a massive spectrum. And today I want to first talk about what Kali is, and then we'll get into a simple drill. I know all you brand new people, because I get a lot of comments right now from a lot of brand new people to Kali. This drill, you're going to be able to do it right away. Promise. So what is Kali, or arnis, sometimes known as eskrima, or Filipino martial arts in general? Kali is a weapon art. A lot of times you hear this as a weapon-based art. Well, I mean, you can say it that way, but Kali is a weapon art. This is an art that in the old times, it prepared the men and women of tribes to be combat ready and prepared as quickly as possible. And when you're thinking about, combat, where you are fighting to protect your resources, your tribe's resources, or maybe you're fighting to take another tribe's resources or in invading people that are coming to invade your land, you are going to want to use the best technology that you have, right? So you're going to be looking at that time to be using weapons. Weapons with a superior level of skill, strategy, tactics, technical precision, attributes. These are the things, the qualities that win battles. And when you're fighting with the odds against you, meaning it is like your 1 to their 3 or more, right? Weapons is the thing that's going to be able to get the job done. Empty hands is just not going to be there. Now, in Filipino martial arts, even though we are a weapon system, we do have empty hands. Here's a disclaimer for you. I hear this all the time. How come you don't see Kali in UFC? Because the empty hands of Kali is not there. I don't know of anybody that's really studying it to be a champion boxer or Filipino boxer in the art of pangamut or panantukan or suntukan. A lot of different terminologies for that. The purpose of the empty hands, which we'll touch base on some empty hand techniques in this series, but the purpose of the empty hands is to buy you time, because maybe you dropped your weapon, you lost your weapon in the midst of combat. Somehow it happens. Maybe it got stuck in somebody or something like that. Maybe you had to throw a weapon to protect yourself or protect another person on your side or something like that. A lot of different reasons why you may not have a weapon, and you might have to go to empty hands. But the empty hands are there to just buy you time long enough to get to either a field expedient weapon, pick up a weapon, or to draw your weapon. That's the idea behind the empty hands of Kali. It's not that we're necessarily going to go and become like the world's best boxer or kickboxer or wrestler or something like that. Our specialty is weapons. Now, that does not mean that our empty hands are not effective, though. The empty hands come from the strategies and tactics in the design, the technical design of the weapons, of the blade weapon and the impact weapon. But again, to emphasize, it is the weapon that gets the job done most efficiently. So Kali, or eskrima arnis, is an edged weapon fighting system. You learn the stick or the impact weapon because it's I guess, more humane for today's day and age, but you're really learning how to handle the stick as the training implement to teach you how to handle the blade, whether it's the bolo, a longer sword, or even the shorter knife. So let's go into some basic strikes with our weapons. Grab a stick or a training sword. This is a training sword. It is not sharp. Okay, always begin your practice either with a collie stick or rattan stick or a training bolo, a blunt sword that is not sharp. If you don't have a cool collie rattan stick like this, I have a link down in the description where you can go ahead and order a pair or two. But for now, just pick up anything that will work. An old broom handle, just cut it down to about 26, 28 inches in length, and there you go. So I want to start off with 5 basic strikes, but making sure that we are striking these properly. And we do have a whole list of striking mechanics. We have 12 different striking mechanic principles that I teach inside of our training programs at colliecenter.com, but we can just go over a few now to give you the gist of it. So the first thing is that when we grip the bolo, you're going to notice how the second knuckle line right here, the second knuckle is right on line with that blade edge. And when I am striking a forehand strike, right, we want that blade edge to move forward right at our opponent. So you're going to see how my wrist is canted out a little bit. Okay, if I had my wrist straight, you're going to see how I'm striking with the flat of the blade, like the edge is going way over there, way over your shoulder right now. Okay, so I want to make sure that my wrist is canted. Now, when we strike on a backhand, the wrist is going to be straight. If I canted the wrist like I did on the forehand, you're going to see it's the same problem now, just on the other side. And now my blade edge is going way over your other shoulder. And I'm striking more with the flat. So whenever we're striking here, we want to make sure that we are presenting that blade edge forward. Okay, forward. It's always going at the opponent. So when we're striking with a stick, because the stick is round and it does not have that edge, you got to remember where your second knuckle line is, and that's representing where the blade edge is at. So as you're striking forward on the forehand strike, you want to make sure that your wrist is canted and your knuckle line is facing forward. And when you're striking on your backhands, that your wrist is straight and that knuckle line is striking forward. All of them. All of the forehands, the wrist is going to be canted. All of the backhands, the wrist is going to be straight. It just takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of cognitive focus on this in the beginning, and then it'll just be like muscle memory in no time. Nerve memory, really. But here's our basic strikes. I'm going to demonstrate them with the bolo first, and then I'll go ahead and switch it over to the stick. Okay, so we're going to start off with our diagonal strikes. We're going to strike downward diagonal. We call this an angle 1. Downward diagonal on the backhand. We call this an angle 2. We're going to come up on the diagonal forehand. We call that an angle 3. And then up on the backhand diagonal. And then we're going to come into the center line thrust just like this. Okay, let's take another look at that from a couple different angles. So you're going to see I'm starting at this full chamber position. This is just the beginning. Later on, we're going to start from different positions, but I always begin all of my students with what we call the full chamber position, because this is what gives you the full arc potential of your strike. It's going to give you the most speed, the most power, and the most follow through, which is going to give you the best return so you can strike faster, 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 more and more and more. Okay, so just bear with me. Start off with this full chamber position. Over time, if you want to continue training with me inside of our online school, then we'll teach you about all the different guard positions and how to strike out of all of them and all that stuff. So from here, we're striking down the angle 1 and down the angle 2, which make a big X in front of the body. Then we come up the X with our angle 3 and our angle 4, and then we strike that center line thrust just like this. Okay, let's take a look at it from the other side here. We have our 1 and 2 down the X, angle 3 and 4 up the X, and that center line thrust on that number 5. Okay, if I turn around here, we can do a couple repetitions together. I'm going to go ahead and switch out to my stick, because you're probably also using a stick so we can keep it the same here. From here, nice and slow, we're going to strike our angle 1, come down on our angle 2, up on the angle 3, up on the angle 4, bring it around, and on that angle 5 thrust right there, center line thrust. Now, you're going to notice how I'm stepping forward a little bit on that thrust. I want you to do that right now because we're practicing a particular footwork. We'll go into detail on that in another video, maybe the next video, but it's just a good idea to add a little bit of footwork in right now. So again, we have our 1 and 2 down the X, 3 and 4 up the X, and that center line 5 right there. One more time, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5. Okay, so here's your goal for this training here. I want you to start nice and slow. I want you to think more of pulling your strikes instead of pushing your strikes, okay? I want you to pull them all the way through this imaginary arc. Okay, so you're gonna be starting your strikes from your lat, not from your chest. We're not pushing because it's gonna end up causing a jerking action in your body, and pushing generates a lot of momentum that's hard to control, and it's gonna eventually pull you off balance. So if you pull, you can maintain your rootedness through your legs, and you're gonna be able to access better, more rapid, more precise footwork, which will be coming up. But your goal here is to get your transitions nice and smooth right here. I don't care so much about speed. I don't care so much about power at this point. It's all about transition. It's all about smoothness between your strikes. And once you have these strikes down, just set a timer for about 5 minutes. Just move around like I am right now. Face different directions. Experiment with one leg forward and then the other leg forward. You can move around a little bit and just experiment. Just have fun with it. There's no right or wrong here, as long as you are doing your best to work on the smoothness in the transition between your strikes. I promise you that the more you practice the smoothness of your strikes and really put your focus in the transition between your strikes, so it's really what you're doing at the chamber positions, you're going to, over time, naturally start striking faster and with more power. Naturally, you won't even have to try to swing harder. Just it takes time for the body to adjust to the mechanics. If you want to go more in detail and fast track this process, head over to KaliCenter.com. I got 2 basic options for you. You can either, 1, check out my Kali Foundations Home Study course. That is complete solo training course. It's a one-time pay for lifetime access. And I'm adding new videos all the time to that course. Number 2 is you can also, you can become a member to our online school where I have a whole video library over there as well. That also includes partner training drills, but you can also access our live stream classes we do every month. And you can also access at the top tier some one-on-one private training sessions as well, right here virtually, just like this. And then we can really focus on every component of Kali and help you build your entire journey progressively. And that will actually help to fast track your training and your skill development. All right, my friends, that's it for today's training. Thank you so much for 200,000 subscribers. Absolutely unbelievable. You guys are amazing. Hit the thumbs up button for 200,000 subscribers right now. And if you are brand new, just catching this video for the first time here at Kali Center, then tap that subscribe button and get training with us. All right, my friends, I'll catch you back here next time.